Okay, so it's been a minute since we've had time together.
And last time I talked to you was the morning you were going to be taking Michael to jail for his birthday. So,
Yes. So Michael and I spent the night in jail. Um, Actually, it was kind of weird because first off, I thought we were staying in Winona. We were staying in Wyckoff, which is 52 minutes from Winona.
oops.
So we went a different route that we would have, like, if I would have actually paid attention, because the first thing we have these like little scratch off things,
Right.
which you don't know what you're gonna go do. And I knew that, this said it was an outdoor 2 to 4 hour experience. And I was like, I'm gonna have some options because it may or may not be. It was snowshoeing. We scratched off the little thing and it was like, go snowshoeing. First off, there's no snow right now.
Yeah, I saw on Facebook, I saw the snowshoeing and I saw Michael's not extremely excited face and he made some sort of comment, I don't remember what it is. And then I saw the follow-up pictures from the antique store, the alternative.
So here's the fun thing about that though, because I had already like planned that we were going to antique on our way down. Michael loves antique stores. We look for weird stuff. I look for unfinished quilts that I can finish.
I saw
Um,
that.
Super fun stuff. And he looks for little tiny, like tiny knives. They can't be any bigger than like this. And if they have advertising, then that's super cool because there's like or the
Hmm.
little toy ones. He also collects these little plastic puzzles. We used to collect Pez, so often we will look for Pez, just because that's still fun.
Yep.
So we go to this one store, we walk in, and it was just super fun. Just right from the start, we're having a good time, we're laughing, and we're just like went down into the moldy dungeon basement thing. There's always something weird and cool in their
Yeah.
moldy dungeon basements.
Smells
But
like grandma's basement.
yeah, we walked down there and I was like, this is a murder basement. Michael's like, I was just thinking how cool this is. I'm like, we're a little polar opposite. Um, and we walk up and I can't remember, he found something really cool. And he was like, ah. I was like, what would make this like absolutely amazing? And he's like, if I could find one of those puzzles on the card, like you don't find those. Because these puzzles, they're like little toy puzzles that were from the 40s, 50s, 60s,
On
and
the card. What does that mean on the card?
it means it has the advertisement with it. Like it's,
Oh,
because
okay.
if you think about a Pez when it's on the
Oh,
card,
got you. That kind of card.
because
Yeah. Okay.
they're
Yep.
toys, they're meant to not be left with their
Yep.
advertisement intact. And I manifest stuff all the time, right? Michael never does.
Hmm.
He turns around, I take a picture of him and he goes to the next like section and right there was not one but two.
There it is.
Two. Like right boom. On his birthday, just this amazing. Now,
Yeah.
had I actually known where we were staying the night, we would not have found that. So connectedness is really high for me. God leads you in a way, and
Yeah.
he's never had that manifestation experience. And it was just, he was like, I should have wished for $1 million, right? It was just, he was like, he was on cloud nine, and he's like, I don't care what happens for the rest of this trip. That was the coolest. Like,
Oh,
so then because the card said Winona, we headed to Winona, right? We stopped and we had this great dinner. And then he's like, it'd be really fun. Let's get pedicures. I got Michael into pedicures years ago. And it's just like, I think all men should have pedicures. They're just really
oh,
comfy. And
mm-mm.
he lets me pick weird colored nail polish for him. Like it
Oh,
can be
that's funny.
mud brown, it can be booger green, it can be like black. I found this really cool gray color, right? So, and they're always so funny. They're like, "You want nail polish?" I'm like, "Yeah, he wants nail polish." Just because it's funny, it makes me laugh. And
Uh-huh.
he's just like, "All right," but the massage and the scrub and the like all that stuff just makes him super super happy. And so he was like, "Yeah, let's get pedicures." Awesome. So we're in no. So I start looking up the address for where we're going, and it's 52 minutes away. It's now 7 o'clock
Mm.
at night, and we still have an hour to drive
And you have to find it.
on country roads in a town of Wyckoff, which is 432 people.
That's funny.
So Michael grew up in a town just like this. And so we get there, and it was a little uncomfortable because I didn't prep him for it. I wanted this to be a big surprise. Well, we're really discovering that he is neurodivergent. I'm neurotypical. And so what I think, and I thought I had planned this out, and I didn't give him the time he needed to,
Warm up to the idea and get excited. Yeah.
yeah, but he had to like check all the, and the slats on the little window thing were turned a funny way so people could look like straight in, and we're in an unknown place. And but he was able to roll with it, which was good. And by the morning time, he was like, wow, this place is really cool. Because when you're driving in the dark and like we couldn't find it, the GPS took us to the wrong place. I had to call, and he's
Right.
like, what have you brought me to?
Uh, remember that murder basement, Michael? I had something a little farther out in mind.
And it's a 1913 jail. Like it's a
Kind of
one,
cool.
two rooms technically, but it has like the metal door between the two rooms.
Yeah.
And you go into the other room, and it's like the metal bar cage with the two beds.
Yep. I saw
But
that.
it actually was really fun because our very first like real date, we were in Salt Lake City, and we ate at the old Salt City jail, where you ate in the old jail cells. So I was like,
Huh. It's
here
like a
we are
theme.
30 years later, spending a night in jail.
It looked fun and it looked cool. I love those Airbnbs with themes, or even if they don't have themes, if they kind of do them up right. When we were in Tennessee, we were in one that it was like done by women, kind of made for women. And my husband was the only guy on the trip. And so it's just really cool and really eclectic and fancy little vanity desks and stuff the girls really got into. I mean, it can really make a difference in the experience, that little piece of where you're staying and what it looks it's so much more fun than a hotel room.
Yeah. And we got up in the morning, and we went across the street to the little restaurant. It was delicious country cooking, just, and then we drove home a different way and hit all of these other antique stores where we found some cool stuff too. So like it was a great trip. And again, had I paid better attention, not paid so much
Uh,
attention to my adaptability,
right.
all these cool things wouldn't have
Wouldn't have
happened.
happened.
So I'm like, God is in the details, right?
Very cool.
What about you?
Well, my week has not been as exciting. It's like doctor's appointments, emergency dental appointments, like all kinds. So it's been, I just keep saying that at least it's not Christmas yet. Get it all out of the way before Christmas week and be done with it. I had a filling crack, so I was getting into the dentist, had to have a bunch of work done and still have to go back and have some done. Um, so that was kind of a little bit of a mess. And then my youngest, her throat, we had to bring her in. Her throat's like super swollen and pus pockets all over in it, all this stuff. She has nothing. She's like, just a virus. She didn't test positive for anything. It's like, okay. And then the other one, the new little cat that came in, yeah, brought worms with it, which we have now learned transfer to humans sometime later. So that's fun. I mean, that's wow. Can't get much more fun than that. And then granddaughter and other daughter, they've been sick all week with like a stomach blood bug and vomiting and all that. So it's been a little busy on this side of town with not such fun things.
I will send prayers for you. And I know we talked there are essential oils, there are zeolite and
Yeah.
some other natural things that can help with that deworming for the whole family.
Yeah, which is what we're doing. So, I mean, thankfully, so far, we only think only one person has found and discovered the issue, but I don't know. I'm still freaked out. So I'm protocoling as if I am, because
Yeah.
I'm just freaked out. The minute, like, I was sick to my stomach the minute I heard, I was like, it's kind of like The days when you hear somebody has head lice or something, all of a sudden you start
Oh
scratching your
yeah.
head and you start, yeah,
Or pink eye and your eyes start
yeah,
to itch and oh yeah.
yeah. Or
Yep.
people find wood ticks on them and all of a sudden you're like, yeah.
And
It
we
was
live in
like
a
that
place
feeling.
that like wood ticks are prevalent in our
Yeah.
wooded area. So yeah, I get that.
So,
Yes.
but like I said, I'm thankful it's, far enough out from the holidays that we don't have to deal with any of that. We got like food poisoning one year on Christmas Eve. I'm telling you, come this time of year, it's like a challenge in the Roberts household. There's always something. And so it's kind of interesting. And it's always interesting stuff. Food poisoning, worms. It's never just the run of the mill. It's got the sniffles. It's always so
Super,
we
super fun. So
yeah.
those are your family traditions. I was actually going to ask you about Christmas
No, no,
traditions.
no, no, no. I do not want to accept that. As like I'm just gonna like rebuke that a lot there. That's not
That's good. That's good. I was hoping that's not yeah, no,
not intentionally.
the pastor this last week talked about Christmas traditions. And so I was
Yeah.
going to ask you, what are some of your Christmas traditions?
So we are a little non-typical in our traditions. My kids aren't big fans of a lot of the traditional foods, so usually we tend to do appetizers is like our big spread, um, which they loved until now other people love it. So we go places for Christmas. We come from divorced families, so there's like five, six places to go within the week on Christmas. And the appetizer thing has caught on now. So now my kids are crabby because everywhere we go, they're like, that's really nice. That works really well. And so they're like, now we need to do something different. So this year they actually want to do a lamb roast, which we've never done. So I'll let you know if that works. I don't know. But so we do the appetizers usually. We watch Gremlins. That's like our big Christmas movie.
Gremlins and
Yeah.
Die Hard.
Yeah, the kids don't get into Die Hard too much, but they like the Gremlins. That's our big Christmas movie. Birthday Cake for Jesus. That's like the fun way of bringing the youngsters into it. And then usually it kind of depends on the schedule. We alternate on when our family does it, whether it's Christmas Eve or Christmas, depending on where's Mari, if she's with her mom or her dad. And so we do like a Christmas Eve service or a Christmas service that kind of flops, but church does like a nice candlelight service on Christmas Eve. That's kind of cool. So we like to go to that one. But if that doesn't work out, then Christmas morning service. So, I mean, those are probably about it for our big traditions.
We always watch a Muppets Christmas Carol
Oh,
and
funny.
White Christmas.
Mm,
And it was funny because as we were antiquing, they had Christmas music playing, and my husband looks at me and goes, "So you're probably enjoying Christmas music again?" Because for the last 10 years or so, I haven't gone to a church building.
mm,
I've done my own quiet worship, but it hasn't been like I used to have 20 plus nativities that we would put out. Now, when we downsized our house, I downsized our nativities and we just haven't had a space to put them out. And so and he's like, "So you probably want to put out a nativity again this year?" And I was like, "Yeah, actually, if we could find space, I'd love to put out a nativity." And like, it's like Christmas is new again this year.
for
And
both of you, it sounds like.
well, yeah, he's open
Yeah,
to me being a little bit more traditional than we have been the last several years. I mean, obviously
right.
we never did Santa for our kids because we were like, why would we tell our kids that some fat man in a red suit broke into our house, gave presents when really we wanted to focus on the birth of Christ?
Right.
And if we then tell them that Santa's not real, we didn't want them to go, well, does that mean that Jesus isn't real? Because, he's not someone we can see either. And so I'm
Yeah.
really glad that we actually, it's really funny. When our daughter was 8, her two best friends were a day younger. They were twins, a day younger than her. And they were all talking and they were like, well, what's Santa gonna bring you? And we had told our kids, you
Mm,
can't tell other people. Like this is our family and we tell you the truth, but you can't tell other people. And so she goes, Mom, I said, I'm not getting anything. And they said, well, why not? And she goes, I just haven't been that good. And she goes, how'd I do? Now, she is like the most innocent, purest child ever. So I was like, oh, sweetie, you did great.
They weren't old enough to be like, what does that mean? What did you do? But think of how it reinforced it for the other kids. They went home and told their parents, oh my gosh, she's so bad. Santa ain't coming to her house.
But for us, especially when the kids were really little, we actually lived with my parents. We lived in the basement. And so my parents would always do like presents and stuff. And I would go shopping after Christmas and buy gifts because everything was less expensive. And then we just told them that the wise men were late and so we would have our Christmas with our kids a week later because it was also Michael and I got married New Year's Eve, so it was our anniversary. So we would celebrate our
Okay.
anniversary and Christmas with our family with the wise men bringing gifts.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't no, nothing like that. I grew up in a house where it's like the whole Santa thing was a big deal. It didn't matter that it wasn't real. Like it wasn't a secret. But it was still like a big deal. Day after Thanksgiving, all the decorations go up and it was a really big deal until I got older. And then somehow, when I was a teenager, I had to stay up late on Christmas Eve and help wrap all the gifts. I'm like, wait a second, this isn't how this is supposed to work. So I kind of brought that into, our family a little bit. And then Dion's, I don't want to say he's completely the opposite, but I think we've talked about this. He's very much like Christmas has its own space, Thanksgiving has its own space. So he was always like, the tree can't even go up until like mid-December. And that was torture for forever for me. And then, but I respected that because I mean, it made sense. It was just different than what I had grown up with. And of course, having kids, they've kind of worn them down over the years. So now as soon as it's December, we can put the tree up. But, um, he's just much more low key. Like my dad was over the top. And so it's been interesting trying to find that balance throughout our marriage because I tend to be over the top. I don't even mean to be. It just like collects on its own. And then when I look at everything that's there, it's like over the top. And so uh trying to learn how to tone that down a little bit now that the kids are getting older.
Wait until you get grandkids. No, so around, I don't
No.
know, 8, 10 years ago, we actually started doing experiences with the kids rather than a
Yeah.
pile of presents. So we would go to an escape room or
Yeah.
one time we went and it did this 2 hour clay where we each got to make a bowl.
Yeah.
Um, or do something where you're physically together doing something rather than just getting a pile of stuff. And for
Yeah.
us, that was meaningful. Now, I remember growing up in my family of origin, we would always, sorry, my thing keeps going off. My family of origin, we would always read the birth of Christ out of the Gospels. And so I want to bring that back. At some point, then a movie was made, and so we would just watch the movie that was about 15 minutes long.
Mm.
But actually getting back and like reading it out of the gospel, like out of the Bible is really, really fun. So this year I probably want to read the Gen Z version
Oh, that'll be
just
great.
just for fun, but it's pretty funny.
I think you should break it out to the family without letting them know ahead of time. You should be like, this is my new Bible. It was gifted to me. So we're gonna read out this one.
I mean, the fun part is it again, somebody had to like really understand and break it
Yeah.
down to the simplest, like this is what was being said.
Well,
Uh,
my 19-year-old, she leads a middle school youth group at church, and she wants to get one now because she's like, oh my gosh, this is really fun. Not only is it fun, but what a fun way to connect. I mean, it's very conversational. You want people to start talking about the Bible, man, just read out of the Gen Z Bible, and nothing that we've found so far is not. It's all biblically correct. It's just,
I did
oh,
I did read some to my oldest he's pretty literal. He's neurodivergent and he was like, well, technically accurate.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is technically it's all accurate. It's just simplified and a lot more slang. Like
Yeah.
going to is
Mary
gonna,
being Prego.
Yeah, yeah, that one still, yeah, that one gets me.
Yeah.
But
So looking at Christmas traditions has been really, really cool. What I really liked is when when the pastor broke it down, he was talking about honoring the birth of Christ and how the birth of Christ brings us hope.
mm,
And at this time of year, everybody needs hope. And then he's like, hope is eternal. It's the eternal gift that's secured through Christ's resurrection. And then how we, to honor that, shine a light and become the hope bringers by sharing Christ's birth and resurrection and mission with others. So that was to tie it all back into traditions. And I don't know, I kind of like that. So, what are your thoughts on that?
yeah, absolutely. And I think, I mean, I think it's twofold, right? This time of year is filled with so much hope and so much joy and so much peace and so much weariness, so much burden, so much loneliness. Like it can go, depending on who you are, where you're on in life, it can be the exact polar opposite. And I always think that's such an interesting dynamic because you just don't see it from, necessarily that perspective, the perspective you're not in. You see whatever you see, we tend to have tunnel vision and we see what we see and don't see beyond that. And I always get hit this time of year with that piece of it. Not that I feel that way, but that I always feel so, I spend time praying and I feel so bad for people who don't have family or don't have a connection to Christ and don't like, I still think even when people aren't connected to Christ or they say they don't believe in Christ or they say like, I still think come this time of year, there's something, and I don't know what that something is and I don't judge, but I think there's something for people.
Yes. But this was what my husband was pointing out to me when we were going through and the Christmas music was on and I was humming along or singing along with it. And he was like, it's different for you this year. It's like new again, isn't it? And I was like, yes.
Yeah,
Because you can be going along and yeah, Christmas and this you're buying all the presents and yeah, there's joy and there's happiness and stuff. But if you don't have the light of Christ, if you don't have that in you and understanding and like really convicted for it, it's not the same. Like this year,
right.
like I just everything feels so much more beautiful and so much more amazing. And I'm excited. Like when I see the Christmas lights up, I'm like, that's awesome. When I hear the Christmas
Yeah.
music, it's like, yeah, especially I mean, obviously like good traditional Christmas songs are a
Uh,
thing for me. But now listening to some different music that kind of weaves in some Christian rock. I'm like, whoa, I like this.
yeah,
I, it, it's just new and fun and beautiful again.
it's like going from black and white to color.
Yes,
And it just
exactly.
gives you a whole different perspective. So I think it's amazing. I was my favorite moments. I don't know what your favorite moments are this time of year, but my favorite moments are at night when everything's turned off except the Christmas tree. Everybody's gone to bed. I'm like the last person, and you just have those moments to, I don't know, you just feel it. You sit there, look at the decorations, look at the lights, and there's just a connection that you feel this time of year knowing, what was happening in the world
Yeah.
several thousand years ago.
It's funny. Our grandson spent the night. He's turning 4 December 22nd. And right now we don't have a space set up until my office gets moved, and then this room will actually become a extra bedroom. But so he was sleeping on the couch, and we have the Christmas tree now set up and the
Mm.
lights, and he got to sleep with the lights on and everything. And my daughter was saying that that was always her favorite thing is sneaking up and sleeping underneath the Christmas tree with the lights still on.
Oh, that's cool. I used to do that when I was young. Now my kids, the one has like a little 4 foot tree in her room. They like to have their own tree in their own space, just a small one. But that's like a big thing in my house is I want my own tree.
I used to
So,
have a big tree upstairs and a big tree downstairs. Well, now we've got a little house. We got a little 4 foot tree, and that's our tree.
so not Christmas related, but now the 4-year-old grandson made me think of this when we were talking because I happened to come across this on something, some little DIY thing for your child. And they showed taking a big cardboard box, almost like making almost like a light bright, taking a big cardboard box and taking a string of lights and putting like a bunch of holes along the top of the box so that all the lights just you see them, they pop into the box, and then making it like a little cave where the child can sleep and be in the little cave and then look up and have all the little lights at the top of the box poking in.
You could do the same thing. So I saw this like you put together this little dome with these wood rods and things, put a
Mm.
sheet over the top of it, and then put the Christmas lights over the top of that.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
So fun. So fun. My granddaughter has we're trying to do experiences this year. We're trying to think of things to do with her that she'd really like and stuff because kids just have everything. They just have everything. And like I said, we come from a divorced family, and so there's so many Christmases that there's just not enough things to. We haven't bought her one thing yet this year because we haven't been able to find anything that she isn't already getting. And it's like, well, this is just ridiculous. And then I'm the not fun grandma who like starts the savings account. And it's like, we put money into a savings account. I mean, one day that'll be really cool, but at 6, not so much.
Yeah, but experiences are such a good way, and especially if you can bring that focus back to what the season is really about,
Yeah.
right? Like finding a live nativity to go to. Unfortunately, there was one day that there was a like live nativity with music and stuff, but it was like really, really cold, and I was not excited to go out and be in a cold barn, so did not go to that. Um,
You used to see a lot more of those prior to um,
that thing that
COVID.
happened
Like,
in 2020.
I know exactly that thing. Prior to that, we right up the street from us, literally like I don't even know it's a quarter mile. The church there has the perfect like U-shaped drive-through where you drive through and you turn around and you can come up the other side and they would have a live nativity every year where you could literally just drive right through it and they had it all set up through the U-shaped. And I mean, and it sounds like it's kind of small, but it went through like a little wooded area next to the church and then around. And so it was really cool, but no more.
That would be fun.
And the kids' plays at church, those are always fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Never like they are in the TV movies, but still fun. They always turn out really well. But
It's always exciting. I'm excited for Christmas this year. I'm excited to just really get into the word and really dive deep into a couple different versions of the Bible to to read and
we'll have
get
to
the
read out
spirit.
of the Gen Z Bible when we get closer to Christmas.
Yeah, we'll
That'll
do
be
that. We'll
fun.
do a reading.
Yeah, we'll do a serious reading.
I guess if anybody's watching here, what I'd love to know is what are your Christmas traditions? What are things that get you in the Christmas spirit or help bring you closer to Christ? Like comment and let us know. Do you have anything else, Shannon?
I don't.
All right. Well, I hope you guys have a very blessed day and a very, very Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.